Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I felt compelled to make this video about a significant problem in War Thunder that still persists in 2022. That problem is people who leave the game after one death. The ironic thing is that not everyone sees this as an issue, but that's okay. I'm going to give it my 2 cents anyway. Alright, enough waffling. Let's get serious. Now this isn't going to be a rant video. We try to stay calm over here. I'm all about offering solutions to issues, and I suspect a fair amount of you watching this video are of the same mindset. So first, let's put some context to this problem. There are multiple scenarios under which a player might leave after one death, but the most prevalent scenario is that a player buys a premium vehicle, earns an event vehicle, or even grinds a tech tree vehicle and starts playing it right away without any other vehicles to support it. That same player, who may not be very experienced, gets knocked out of the game and leaves immediately after dying once because they only have one vehicle. The suffering doesn't end there though. That player's team suffers in 2 ways. First, the one death leaver most likely died before making any significant contributions to the team. Second, the one death leaver's team is now down a vehicle. This is a double punch in the face. This can be exacerbated if multiple players on a team leave after dying once. What happens next is usually what we call a cascade failure, or in other words, a ruffle stomp, meaning the team rapidly crumbles after the loss of so many players, and the players left holding the bag opt out as they see team members leave because they have no hopes of winning alone. There is no incentive for them to stay. To put it bluntly, when one death leavers exit a match prematurely, they destroy the enjoyment of other players. This is a serious problem for the game, and it becomes worse after event vehicles are awarded or a sale starts. War Thunder Ground Forces battles are all about lineups. To get the most out of ground realistic battles or arcade battles, you need vehicle lineups that complement each other. This is a fundamental feature built into the game by design. When one of your vehicles gets knocked out, the battle is often not decisively over, especially if it's early in the match. Now, some hardcore veterans can probably spot losing cues and determine very early on that a match is lost, but most of us can't. Spawning an additional vehicle gives your team a chance to win and gives you, the player, additional time to earn extra SL and RP to progress further in the game. So why does Gaijin intentionally break this design by allowing players to leave after only one death? We'll get to that later. Okay. So far I've been talking about only one aspect of the problem, which is trying to play the game with only a single vehicle when Ground Forces mode is designed for lineups. But what else makes players leave after one death? This is more complicated, but at the core of why players leave early for reasons other than only having one suitable vehicle is general dissatisfaction with other elements of the game. War Thunder is beset with frustration obstacles that make players reach for their wallets or for the exits, literally. This isn't a bug, it's a feature. If players face obstacles they see as insurmountable and can't pay to skip it, they'll just opt out and leave. What do I mean by insurmountable? It's all about perceptions and lived experience. Here's some examples you might find familiar. So you're in your 4th straight night match without thermal sights or night sights. Or maybe repair costs are too high to continue playing. How about full up tiers? We've all seen that. Or bad map design, where you get killed before you even leave in the spawn area. I mean, watch this right here. This is practically at the beginning of the match. I get yeeted before I even left the spawn. I mean, this is just crazy. Alright, so that's actually pretty frustrating. I lose my best tank just because of bad map design at the beginning of the match. But you can also get smoked by a helicopter at the start of the match. Or my personal favorite is you start out on a slight incline when you haven't researched any mobility modules yet. Now, some of these things you can just pay to skip it if you prefer, but some things can't be solved with money. Alright, so let's tie all this back together and look for solutions. The first half of the problem is players using a single vehicle in a game designed for lineups. This is most problematic with premium and event vehicles, as you don't get any respawns unless you activate a universal backup or pay for it. So why does Gaijin intentionally break their own game design by allowing players to leave after only one death? Gaijin wants you to buy premiums and grind for event vehicles. These are major revenue generators. But gaijin could fix this in a way that enhances player enjoyment and largely keeps revenue intact. The solution is already in the game. In the Israeli tech tree, you get 3 backups for the Merkava Mark IIB and the M51 Sherman in arcade battles, and you get 2 in realistic, and you get this even if you've contributed 0 to the team. In this case, gaijin wants you to buy premiums for a ground tech tree that isn't here yet, so they make the premiums as attractive as possible. Gaijin should do this for all premium and event vehicles as well. For tech tree vehicle 1 death levers, gaijin could always extend the free repairs from 10 to something like 30, along with 10 free universal backups. This would at least acknowledge the difficulties you run into when grinding a tech tree vehicle, like bad maps, repair cost, up tiers, night battles, etc. My solutions amount to something like a soft landing. Punishing players for leaving probably isn't the right strategy. If gaijin would soften the impact of a loss on research and SL game, perhaps more players would stick around to the end of the match. I have to acknowledge that all those other issues that contribute to players leaving after 1 death and the second half of the problem will probably never be fixed because they drive revenue and there is no incentive to fix them. So why would you put punitive measures in place for players leaving early because of them? But if I were to suggest some fixes to gaijin for the more frustrating parts of the game, I would number 1, change how vehicle modifications impact vehicle performance. Right now, unspaded vehicles perform way too poorly versus fully spaded vehicles. Number 2, I would change the way night battles are implemented. If a vehicle doesn't have night vision devices unlocked, it should temporarily get them when pushed into a night battle. If a vehicle did not historically have night vision devices, I don't think it should be subjected to night battles. Number 3, stop balancing vehicles by repair costs. Players are far more likely to stick in a battle if they don't have to worry about going bankrupt in the game. Number 4, give players an incentive to stay in a battle. Giving players a reason to stay even when others leave is the key. A bonus modifier for players that stay in a battle until the end should be explored. The bottom line is that the 1 death lever problem would probably never be stopped entirely. If a person wants to leave a match for whatever reason, they'll just do it. But mitigation measures can be implemented to ensure that a majority of time, players make the right choice for the player base. Alright, and so that's the video for today. Now these are just my opinions, but I would love to hear yours. Whether you agree or disagree, go and hit me up in the comments. And if you like the video, you like this type of content, don't be shy on the like button. Maybe even consider subscribing. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in a future video.